سلام دوستان عزیز، نوشین نیکفرجام هستم در برنامه دانش و آگاهی در تلویزیون عصر امروز. امیدوارم هر جای دنیا که هستین خوب و خوش و سرحال و سلامت هستین و به برنامه ما نگاه میکنین. امروز برای بار سوم من از دوست نازنینم خانم لیلا فلدن دعوت کردم که تشریف بیارن. های عزیزم.
های عزیزم.
امیدوارم که خوبی. خیلی ممنون که باز اومدی.
خواهش میکنم. My pleasure واقعا.
چون برنامه راجع به شما یاد دادن بیشتر و آگاهی بیشتر در راجع به آتیزم یا در خودماندگیه و ما 2 برنامه قبلا داشتیم و امروز برنامه سوممونه و از همون جور که میدونین من این برنامه رو به انگلیسی اجرا کردم و امروز هم برنامه به انگلیسی خواهد بود. از کسانی که دلشون میخواد حتما برنامه 100% به فارسی باشه خیلی عذر میخوام. اگر دوست دارین حتما پیام بدین. من از لیلا جون خواهش میکنم که برگردن و سعی کنن که به فارسی صحبت کنن. از اینجا به بعد برنامه به انگلیسی خواهد بود و امیدوارم که به خاطر اهمیتی که این برنامه و آگاهی که به شما میده راجع به آتیزم یا در خود ماندگی حتما این رو با آشنایانتون به اشتراک بذارین، به خصوص مادر پدرهای جوانی که الان بچه دار میشن یا بچه های کوچیک دارن. این اطلاعات بی نهایت به دردشون میخوره. خیلی همون از اینا اصلا اطلاع نداریم. anyway از اینجا به بعد میبخشین دیگه انگلیسی شروع میشه. Hello Leila John.
How are you?
Thank you for accepting my invitation for the 3rd time.
Of course, my pleasure.
So we can at least go over all the questions that I had.
Yes.
And I received more questions this week that are very important.
Good.
So,
I'm glad that people are asking questions.
Yeah. But just for the people who are watching us for the first time, I'm going to read a short bio about Leila, and then we're going to go and start asking questions. Leila Feldon is a clinical supervisor in applied behavior analysis, ABA, specializing in supporting children with autism and developmental or behavioral disorders. With extensive experience in designing treatment and intervention plans, parent training, and supervising behavior technicians in the school and home settings. We have gone through this in detail in the first 2 programs. So if you guys like to go back and watch those, you're more than welcome. And if you can't find it, you can go to my YouTube channel or to my website drnoushin.com. Under media you can watch all the programs that we had before. Leila focuses on evidence-based interventions that promote meaningful, lasting change in children's daily lives in school, home, and everyday life. Leila completed her graduate work in psychology and her graduate work in special education. Alongside her clinical work, Leila is currently studying intuitive healing and generational trauma healing, expanding her practice to support adults through one-on-one guidance. Again, we talked about this in our first interview, but if time permits us today, we might go over it a little bit more. Her healing work helps clients reconnect to their emotional patterns, release inherited trauma, and cultivate clarity, resilience, and self-trust. She offers intuitive healing sessions via Zoom, and she is also a full-time mom who dedicates her life to her son. And as you all know, my passion is photography, and hers is the same. So whenever she's free, she does photography.
Yes.
And her information is going to be under her title is going to be underneath soon, and you can contact her whenever you wish. So Let's see.
Let's dive.
I was talking actually to someone in New York, and they started talking about their brothers.
Right.
Her brothers, she has two brothers. Apparently, I don't know if they're have Asperger's or autism or something similar. But the questions that she asked me, I know that are extremely important for people who are dealing with autism anywhere in the world. So the first one is, how do relationships between siblings with autism and their neurotypical counterparts parts evolve from childhood to adulthood?
I think that's a wonderful, wonderful question because I don't think it been emphasized enough how much the sibling within themselves or how much the family is impacted by a disability of a child or a child on the spectrum. So neurotypical, for people who don't know what it means, neurotypical means children who are not with disability. So nowadays we don't call
AKA normal, right?
Yeah, there's no normal anymore because normal defined differently for between people to people. So we don't want to categorize somebody as normal. So a child without a disability, we call it a neurotypical child, and it is very important to understand that neurotypical children, when they are exposed to a sibling with a disability, there are several stages that they go through. So it all depends on their age, obviously. So if they are younger and they just encounter another sibling that was diagnosed with autism or any other disability, if they're young, they might be kind of a little bit confused because they don't understand like why the other sibling is acting different than they are. They might find themselves a little bit having a hard time connecting because the other child is not displaying the same behavior, especially if they are in elementary or in kindergarten and they see other kids that are typical and they are doing the things that their brothers or sisters are not doing, and that's when the gap is starting to develop. When they get older, the relationship it kind of goes between confusion to responsibility to love to resentment. Okay, I think one of the areas that parents need to understand is that a neurotypical child is still a child on its own. They have their own personality, the same as the child with a disability. So just because they're a sibling, it doesn't mean that the child that does not have a disability has to be kind of responsible for the child with a disability.
That's what we see a lot, actually.
Yes. Parents feel like because the child is able to do things and they are developing in the typical way, then they need to be like a role model, or they need to be the one that holding the child's hand and making them go through life. And that creates a lot of responsibility for the child, and they feel like, oh, okay, so I am constantly being measured as someone that I have to be like a help to the family, or I have to be the caregiver. And that's when the responsibility starts feeling more like a resentment because they don't feel like they can be their own person. They feel like they're the shadow of the child with a disability. Also, attention is a different. It's a very sensitive subject. I know when parents first learn that they have a child with a disability, they are in shock, and some of them are in denial, and they're trying to do whatever it takes to provide the services or give the attention or whatever it is, and then they kind of put the child without a disability in the background because they think, oh, he doesn't really need a lot of attention because he's developing normally or typically. So the child oftentimes feels very isolated because all the attention is on the other child with a disability. So we want to make sure that the parents understand that those two children are the same. They should be treated the same. Just because one has disability and the other doesn't, it doesn't mean that the child with a disability need to be the center of everything. I encourage parents to make time specifically for each child per week to spend alone. Okay, alone time is very, very important to develop the relationship between the brothers and sisters, between the siblings, because the parents need to understand that the typical child also needs to be a typical child, which means that they need to do things that had nothing to do with the other child.
Right.
They need to go and have play dates with their kids. They have to have things to do that they're interested in. The parents need to designate the time to be with the child that is typical in order to invest in their skills and make them grow. And then do the same thing with the child with a disability. Spend 2 or 3 days a week just with them, and then bring them together and do activities that require a lot of play, a lot of interaction. Not like because you know how to write correctly, let's teach him how to write. Don't put the responsibility on the other child to teach the sibling what to do and how to be. So I think distinguishing between the fact that they're two different individuals and they're not related just because they're siblings, that's the first step.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And the next question is, what common patterns do you see between autistic adults and their neurotypical siblings in adulthood, as far as closeness, resentment, overfunctioning, distance, etc.?
Again, it all depends on how the parent made the relationship
from the beginning.
So if the one child is becoming a caretaker, some kids they have that innate responsibility and they want to be, people pleaser, and they want to be the one helping. So some of them may not have a problem taking that responsibility and being that young, mature adult that is taking care of everything, and they develop a lot of love and healthy boundaries. But then there's those kids who are not built this way, and if over time you give them a lot of responsibilities, then over time that responsibility becomes a resentment, or it becomes jealousy, or it becomes, I don't want to say hate, but there's a very fine line between love and hate. Because sometimes they might perceive, my mom and dad always wanted me to be the caretaker, but that's not my responsibility. So I think in adulthood, it all depends on the base.
Right.
So from the way that you brought up as a child, that's how you're going to perceive it in childhood. So I think being able to understand what is your role, that's a major thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Then the next question is, I know of some families where children were expected to be caregivers to their siblings, often from a very young age. This is from her. I'm reading it because it's extremely important. You just tapped on it. So. I've seen this sometimes manifest into resentment as the neurotypical child associates their siblings with unwanted responsibility. So what can parents do to facilitate a healthy relationship between their children? That you already answered.
I think basically separating their life and then also making a space for them to come together. Like, for example, make sure that if you are doing therapy with your child at home, you don't have to always include the other sibling. It does not have to be a must. Okay? Yeah. It can be occasionally, come join the session, be part of it, but don't force it upon the other sibling to do that. Also, the language is important. You want to let the other sibling know, you want to be a part of your brother's life. You want to be a part of your sister's life. So in order for you to be a part of their life, this is what you need to do. Not to come and say, oh, this is your responsibility. You have a brother, you have a sister. This is what you must do.
But it all depends on their age.
Exactly.
If they're too young, they're not going to understand it.
So I think in adulthood, you want to make it clear for them what is the future plan. So when they're growing into adults, they won't feel like, God forbid my parents are not going to be around, so this is going to be my responsibility to take care of my brother or my sister. I think there should be a future plan, a realistic future plan that should be discussed with the sibling of what would happen if one of us is not going to be around, or what is going to be your role in the future of your brother or sister's academic life or personal life. Because the child with a disability depends on the severity of the disability. They may not be able to have an independent life. So we want to have a plan. It's very early. I mean, this is something that is not going to happen overnight, obviously. This is something that our parents will have to, think through over the years and get a lot of help and a lot of resources. But make sure that you are communicating that to your neurotypical children as well, so they're aware of what are the steps being taken.
So, as far as games or involving both kids, what kind of games do you recommend?
I recommend game nights. Like have very simple board games that the child with a disability can get engaged in.
Okay.
There are very, very easy games that they can do, like shoot and ladders, or Monopoly is very complicated because it's very critical thinking. But very simple games of like making count and moving the parts around. You can do interactive games like ball games, tossing balls back and forth. You can do different games of like puzzles. I know children with autism, they love different puzzles.
Okay.
Yeah, they like to put puzzles together. Legos, oh my God, Legos are the best.
Really?
Yes, Legos, they love building Legos. They love coloring. They love painting. When I say I'm generalizing. Different kids have different interests, but coloring, painting, board games, sometimes getting the karaoke with the microphone.
Really?
That's the best thing, because it's just so free, because they can sing, they can dance, they can do all kinds of stuff. Video games. So many kids are into video games now. If your child with disability have the ability to do video games, which most of them do have that ability because it's so interactive, find a game that they can both sit down and play together, or as a family do like a family game night and just play video games together. Something that will get you guys together.
Amazing. I'm going to read what else she wrote.
Of course.
Because it's extremely important. So she's saying that when I worked in the group home for adults, she herself is a social worker as well. When I worked in the group home for adults with intellectual disabilities, very few individuals living there still had any relationship with their siblings, let alone a healthy one. Of the 6, 2 had a lot of contact with family, and only one had a healthy relationship. I cannot emphasize how much happier and well-adjusted those who still had contact with their siblings were compared to their co-residents. I also had a lot of friends who were already expected to care for their siblings, for their older siblings, when they were in elementary school. And let me see. I know that this is something a lot of parents struggle with, finding the right balance. That you went through it. Do you want to add anything, or?
Again, group homes are very different. Group homes are basically facilities that the child with a disability lives because the parent can no longer take care of them, or they reach an age where they cannot live independently, so they need to go into the group home. And once you separate from the home situation, then a lot of people go about their own lives. And with the child with disability, they don't keep in touch unless you keep in touch, because they don't really have, a lot of them, especially with intellectual disability, they don't have the capacity of yearning and missing and
What do you mean by
wanting.
intellectual capacity?
Intellectual disability.
Yeah.
Intellectual disability right now is the politically correct word for mental retardation.
Okay.
So mental retardation is no longer used in the DSM
Right.
Because of political reasons. So intellectual disability is now another name for mental retardation. So children with intellectual disability, because of the developmental delay and emotional delay, some of them, they don't have the capacity of saying, I want to be in touch with my brother and sister,
Right.
or showing the need of being in touch with their family. So unless the family is the one pushing for it, and they making the visitations, and they doing the effort of being in touch with them, if that's not in place, then eventually the relationship will just fail.
So tell us about the homes, the home setting. How is the home setting? Can they live by themselves in one room? Do they have to have a roommate? Are they different? Is it like a dormitory?
You mean group home?
Yeah.
It's very different. There are group homes that are designed by the regional centers. This is for more of a high-functioning kid, that they are going into a home and they have maybe an apartment or like a level of like maybe 3-4 children living in the same apartment.
Okay.
And they have a mother, like a mother home, like a
Like
I
a
forget the word.
resident advisor.
Yeah, resident
like the
advisor, mother
dormitory.
advisor,
Yeah.
something like that. That they are living in their own room, they have their own independent life, and they are meeting together for social activities like cooking and watching TV together, and they have a social life on their own with the counselor.
Right.
And the counselor is the one making sure that they are living correctly, they're appropriate with each other, and so on and so forth. And that's called assistant living.
Right.
Assistant living is very good for children with autism that are able to be in that program, because it really provides them with independent lifestyle. Group home is different. Group home is more for those who are severely impacted, that they don't have the life skills, and they need to be taken care of.
Okay.
So basically, they're the ones who still need to be be taken to the toilet. They're the ones who need to be fed. Those are the ones that mostly have no communication, aggressive behavior, and they have in-home facilities and in-home people who are taking care of them.
Right.
So it's more of a little institute that feels more like a home, and it takes care of them if the parents are not able to do that.
Is there an age group different, or a minimum age, maximum age
I
for
think
these
the minimum
places?
age for group home is 18 and up,
Okay.
and so it's for the assistant living. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So most parents do take care of their kids until they're 18.
Yes, you can even take care of them until 22, because when you are in high school, if you are on special education curriculum, you can stay in high school until 22. So technically, these kids can be staying home until 22. And if the parents, after that decide that they want to put them in group home, or if they want to put them in assistant living, there's some other program like, I don't know much about here in California, but I've heard about it, that there's a program in the ranch, like they can go live off of ranches,
Right.
and they take care of animals, and they do like farm work and stuff like that. It all depends on the impact of the disability and the child. There's a lot of them who are able to work.
Right.
They can work at Starbucks, they can work at different places that give them a type of a work that they're able to do, like maybe bussing tables, or washing dishes, or making deliveries, or things that they're able to do. So the options are either working, going to college, group homes, assistant living, but there are other researchers if they're not going to be working out, like being home with the parents. The majority of parents that I know, they keep the kids home. They want to take care of them,
Right.
especially the ones that are not able to have independent life. But if they're able to do it and be independent, allow them to be independent. I mean, they need to grow up and be an individual.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
So let's go back to the questions that we left off.
Sure.
So what motivates you personally to do this work?
Oh, wow. So what motivates me? Honestly, seeing the progress. Like I said, I have so many success stories of children that have been with me from elementary all the way to high school, and they have graduated and they've gone to college. Knowing that I, with the help of the parents and the therapists, were able to get the child from the beginning, and now seeing them being a successful individual, going to college and getting a degree is amazing. It's the same thing I would wish for my child. It's like so all of these kids become my kids per se, because I am so attached to them. I see the progress. I am so close to the families. I talk to them almost on daily basis or weekly basis. So for me, their success is my success. So that's what motivates me the most. And also, I enjoy working in the schools. I think being in the schools keeps me young. I love being around the kids. Especially the generation of today that is evolving so fast, and they are exposed to so many things that I would not have an idea if I was not in the schools.
That's right. No, you're right.
So it helped me connect to my son and understand the school life of today, because it's so different from what I've experienced.
Of course. Where did you go to school?
For
high school?
For high school, I went to Orange County.
So you were here?
I was here.
Okay.
Yeah. For high school, I was here. For middle school and elementary, I was in Israel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was very different back then. So now, being in high school, middle school, elementary, and I see so many different kids and teachers and the way things are being taught, and how children are in the world of today, it just gives me an inside eye to see things that I wouldn't otherwise known.
That's true.
So it had a lot of personal benefits for me, as much as I enjoy working with the children with disability, and also working with these kids have taught me a lot about myself. It taught me how to be patient. It taught me how to be resilient. It taught me how much, how far you can come. And if they can do it, then I can do it. So,
of course, yeah.
So I think it's very powerful and very inspiring. Yeah.
So have you been to anybody's wedding? Have they gotten married? These kids?
Unfortunately, not yet, but I'm hoping that one day, yes.
But you haven't seen any of them getting married?
Unfortunately, once they finish our program, I'm not allowed to be in touch with them because it's conflict of interest. So once they leave our program, with all my heart, I wish them the best, and I hope that they will get married one day and they have a family of their own, or whatever they decide to do, that they will be well and happy.
Okay. So what do you want the public to understand about autism?
I want them to understand that children with autism are not difficult. They're just very misunderstood. I think parents who have children with autism or any other related disability have to be able to, at some point, really accept. I know it's a very, very difficult thing to do because, every mother, every father, when they have kids, they have hopes and dreams, okay?
Yeah.
And when you have a child with a disability, somehow it just kind of like diminish all of that, and now you have to grieve that you're not going to have that. So I think if every parent can somehow, understand that, okay, my child is not going to be as everybody else is. it doesn't mean that they're difficult. It doesn't mean that they're going to be incapable. It's just that they're gonna require different ways of learning. They're gonna require different ways of loving, and they're gonna require different ways of being in this world. But the world is not necessarily bad, because they have a beautiful world, actually.
Their perception is different.
The perception is very different. There's a show on Netflix. I don't know if people have seen it. It's a Love at the First Sight or something like that. It's about, I have to remember the name of it. It's about children with autism and the spectrum, that they talk about going into the dating world and dating and getting married, and how much they really want to have a relationship, and how much they want to be part of the world. I think it's Autism at the First Sight or Love at the First Sight, one of these two. It's a very, very inspiring show to see on Netflix, all about autism, and you're going to see how wonderful they are. They perceive love in a way that we cannot even put in words.
That's right.
It's so raw, and it's so honest, and it's so beautiful, that and so simple.
And if you are afraid of them, or you're you have sympathy or empathy about them, they feel it and they don't come close to you.
Right, yes.
Just like animals.
Right.
Because I see I have a dog and grandkids, and I have been with other kids around, and I see the similarity of the souls, how they know each other and how they know you.
Yes.
As a being.
Yes, of course.
Because these kids only want love, unconditional love.
Yes.
That's what I have found out in my life.
They have a lot of love. They understand what love is. They understand people relations. They just cannot do it like you and I do.
That's right.
They're very different. But different doesn't mean bad. Different doesn't mean that it's not able. It just means that it's different. That's it.
Yeah. I just watched a movie. What's Eating Gilbert something?
Yes.
With Leonardo DiCaprio and Johnny Depp.
Yes.
And a bunch of other very famous actors and actresses. And Leonardo DiCaprio is 19 years old in this movie. He's acting as an 18-year-old, but he looks 14.
Yes.
And that was amazing.
Yes.
My friend told me to watch it.
Yeah, also watch the movie Temple Grandin.
Temple
Grandin is all about a lady by the name of Temple Grandin, that she was diagnosed with autism. She was on the spectrum, high functioning, back in the 1960s, when they didn't even know about autism. And she had a passion for cows.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Because their passion is really a passion for something.
Yes, very direct. And she made a career out of it. She went to college and she studied something about cows, how the cows are being slaughtered, what the process of going into the cattle and getting slaughtered, and she went and she studied it to the key and understood what the cows go through before they're being slaughtered, and how to perceive the world, and it shows how the world is perceived through the eye of a person with autism. And she designed this machine because some people with autism, when they get frustrated, they need they need pressure.
Right.
You have to give them pressure on the shoulders or on the legs, or they have to wear a weight vest. So she designed this machine where she will go into it and she will kind of pull the rope, and the machine will close on her, and that's how she will regulate herself.
Wow. Just like hugging her hot tight.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing movie.
Wow.
Temple Grandin, yeah. So,
I have to watch it.
Yeah, so if you have the chance to see it, and again, if anybody has the chance to see Rayman again,
of course,
watch Rayman. These people are so talented, emotionally very sensitive, and once you really understand the world and who they are and what they are, you fall in love with them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Have you, I mean, I'm going to say ever, because I don't know if, been with some parents that come to you and say, what did I do wrong? Why
Yes.
me? Why this? Because,
Yes.
I mean, we get that with any kind of disability. Or last week I had an amazing guest here, and we were talking about homosexuality. And I encourage everyone to go and watch that. And he's going to come back because we have a bunch of other questions that we didn't get a time to ask. So a lot of times, even if a child comes out of the closet, or if they are transgender, parents always are thinking, what did I do wrong? Or if they have addictions, or if they have some mental disability. So what do you answer to them?
I don't know if anything I would say would kind of click, but like any mother or father that gives birth to the child, because we pass on the genetics, we automatically think that there's something wrong with us. And
Yeah, but
that's how we
genetics
feel.
is not what we can do about it.
Right.
I mean,
we
that's
feel
the
guilty.
DNA.
Yeah, because of the DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we feel guilty about it. But this is not something that you could have known.
Exactly.
So autism is not something that can be detected early on. It's not like Down syndrome where you can do like a test and and show you. So oftentimes parents don't know until the child is born, and until they're like at least 18 months old, to find out that there is something different about the child.
Right.
So I did have parents who would cry and say, you know, why me? Why did it happen to me? Like, what did I do to deserve this? But I tell to the parents, it's like, you know, it's like anything else. You know, it's like, God forbid if the child had cancer, would it be different? Or if the child had...
I think they still ask the same question.
Yes.
When, I mean, parents, when they have any kind of this, it challenges that the child goes through, the first thing is asking, what did I do wrong?
Right.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Or what could I
have
done right?
I mean, we as a human, we're conditioned to perceive everything perfect.
Right.
And if something is not perfect, then we perceive it to be wrong. But I think, you know, every parent, if you have a strong belief in your faith or religion or whatever it is, you have to just accept that, you know, this is the card that you were dealt with, and now you have to do the best. There's no question in it. You just have to trust that whatever comes your way, you're going to have to be dealing with it, and your child will be okay at the end, because you are the parent, and you will do whatever it takes to make sure that your child is okay, and you just have to trust that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very hard.
It is.
Very, very
a lot
hard.
of times, going back to autism, I think the unconditional love is one of the lessons that this child comes to the parents' lives.
Yeah.
It's not anything that they did was wrong,
Right.
but maybe their soul connection is showing them that this is why that child chose that parent, that, you know, those parents, to teach them a lesson to higher,
Absolutely.
you know, higher their spiritual growth in this life.
And the unconditional love goes for everything. I mean, it's not just for autism, you know. It's like when you have a child, no matter what they are, you unconditionally love them. Not
true, but, you know, in some conditions is different.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So final message for parents and educators watching.
My final will be, please, don't ignore the researchers, don't ignore the education on the matter. Nowadays, with AI and Google and everything that is being offered, there's plenty of researchers out there. So don't deprive your child from the services that they deserve, because your child can get a lot of services at school and they can get a lot of services at home. But ultimately, it's going to be the parent's responsibility to educate themselves about the researches that are available out there, being able to get on it early on.
Right.
Early education, early intervention is the key. At early, I mean at 3 years old. If you already see something is different about your child, don't wait. Get those researches as early as possible. The earlier that you are aware, the better are the chances for the kid to evolve into something, evolve into independent adults.
Right.
Okay? The later you are going to act, the impact can be a little bit more severe. Like, for example, if you wait until they're in middle school and high school, the chances are that the progress is not going to be as fast and quick. When they're little, they're like sponges. They can understand. You can shape. You can modify. Like adults, it's like the older we get, the harder it is for us to change ourselves.
Of course.
But if you have a child that looks different, trust your gut. As a parent, you know that something is different about your child. Get those diagnostics, get the researchers, contact regional centers. If you're in LAUSD or any other school district, make sure that you contact your teachers and you ask about the progress of the child. If they're telling you that something is different about your child, listen to them and get the researchers available, because the schools are helpful and the regional centers are helpful, so please get the help. It's available for you.
Okay. Thank you. I was going to ask you another question. I forgot. Mariam, how much time do we have? Oh, 7 minutes? 5 minutes? Good! All right. Let me see what I was going to ask you. Jeez. Old age, huh? Honestly, until I remember, we talked about a lot of these things in our first and second program.
We did.
So I encourage you to go and watch both of the interviews, because you get a lot of information that you cannot get anywhere else.
Yes.
But I would like to go back to what you do for the intuitive and generational trauma healing. Tell us a little bit about it. We have 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
So for the intuitive healing and generational trauma, is basically I work again one-on-one on Zoom, and we try to find out what areas you feel stuck. And then we try to find out what are the underlying trauma that you have been taking on from generations that are not yours. We carry a lot of weight. A lot of us carry a lot of weight that it came from generations that it kind of been conditioned upon us, and we kind of carry it on. So we look at patterns, and somewhere along the line, those patterns are breakable. And we try to rewire those patterns into different ways of thinking, different ways of doing, in order to release that trauma and move on. Because a lot of that trauma is holding us back, because our mind it gets programmed to think the same thought every day, just because that's how we've been thinking.
Exactly.
So once you understand where the trauma lies and what is the cause of the trauma, then slowly we can work through, okay, so this is not the way I'm thinking. This is something that is not belong to me. So I need to release this. And then find a new script that my mind will get used to thinking. Because the mind doesn't distinguish between bad thoughts and good thoughts.
That's right. Reality versus not reality.
Right. So I don't know if you know the story of the two wolves.
Yeah. But my favorite story.
Yes.
But tell us.
Yes.
I love that.
There are two wolves that, the one wolf is, very hungry and angry, and he always wants to go after, animals and eat them. And then there's this wolf that is kind and he's tamed. It's the same thing in our mind. It's which wolf you feed.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
if
Yeah.
you feed the one that is angry all the time and is hungry and resentful, that's what you're going to keep on getting.
Definitely. Yes.
So this is what we work on, and this is the theory that we're working on to change that mindset. And being able to release the areas that we're stuck in life.
So my question is, do you send them, because you do this on Zoom?
Yes.
Do you send them a bunch of questions to ask,
Yes.
to evaluate them at the beginning,
Yes.
and go from there?
Right. So
Okay.
basically, before they start the session, they have to answer like a questionnaire, and then we talk about what they have answered, and based on that, we start like a program, like a
Multiple choice or essay questions?
it's some multiple, some essays,
Okay.
but I don't ask them to write like a long essay.
Right.
It's just for me to understand where they are. And then once we dive into the sessions and we do meditation, and I ask them more specific questions about their generation, like the mom and the dad and the siblings and the relationships, and and then we find out what the patterns are, and then we just start the shift. But I would love to get into more in details of how we do things in maybe next show with you.
Yes.
This is your specialty as well, so maybe we can bounce ideas.
I love that.
Yes, so
Yeah.
we can do that.
Oh, she says we have to say goodbye. I want to thank you again.
I want to thank you for having
Honestly,
me.
it was such a pleasure to learn from you every time you come here.
Of course, of
And
course.
I know everybody who is viewing this is getting a lot out of this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
again, I'm asking you, everyone, to share this
of course.
with your loved ones. You're going to do a great mitzvah or deed, or, you can change somebody's life if they can catch this early on.
Absolutely.
And help, help and support is on the way, but you need to ask. And you need to be aware in
Yeah.
order to ask. So watching these programs, this is why I'm doing them.
Yeah,
So-
and I'm very thankful for you for doing
Thank you.
this. And again, I speak Farsi and English and Hebrew, and my email and my phone number is in the captions. And if you need my website, I can send it to you, no problem. Please contact me with any questions, Dr.
Yeah.
Noushin, and we will be here for you. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
having us.
much. Thank you.
I appreciate
Have a
it.
beautiful weekend,
Have a
everyone.
good weekend.